Today, you guys get me in my raw, unshaven, sweaty after workout best. I felt inspired to share an experience that I had in regards to shoulds and shouldn'ts. I had a beautiful angel friend, actually two, within a short period of time point out to me that they felt I had intimacy issues. The reason I'm sharing this is whether it is or isn't, that had absolutely no bearing on it. What I found I chose to do, supposedly, was it brought me out of this space, this isness that is pure perfection. And in reflecting back, it apparently was because I thought something should be different than it was. It was for about a day after the shift I had with Lisa that there was a real settling, very ordinary, beautiful piece, but very ordinary, nothing special whatsoever. It had settled in and I lost it. Kind of like when I would believe a thought, but that lasted maybe 5-10 seconds at the most before I could realize that I was believing a thought. For some reason, this one held on for about a day. I had shared that with a friend. She had shared with me, as well as another friend, about their take on intimacy with me. And it wasn't just that, but for some reason, I went searching to see if that was true, and found that in that seeking, in that leaving this space to think something should be different than it was, that in itself created suffering. That seeking for something other than what is created suffering. And that is what we all do. The insanity, the complete insanity of not accepting what is. If you look at it from a purely common sense point of view, it already is. When in the world has that ever worked to think something should be different? When have you ever changed what already is? Yet we spend so much of our time thinking if it had happened this way, it would be so much better. If some person had done this, if they told me they loved me. It's insanity. It is absolute insanity. And that is when we suffer, is when we step out of a complete and utter acceptance, embracing, loving what it is, what already is. Anything else is complete insanity, to think that I'm going to change what is. We love our stories, and our stories about suffering and about victimization. But does that bring you peace? Ever. Ever. It doesn't to this soul. And all I can tell you is my experience. Once I reflected back and looked back on that to say, on a relative level, there is probably some truth to me having intimacy issues. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. For me to think anything ought to be different than it is right now is complete insanity. This is all just unfolding perfectly. The story of Mike couldn't have been any different. Can't be any different. The story of you can't be any different. It just is. And it's perfectly as it is. Just something I wanted to share, that we always look at shoulds, coulds, would've, all take us away from this love that we are, that we all are. Just my experience. Just wanted to share. I love you all so very much. Thank you for listening. Maybe.